Welcome to Nic On Knicks, where your boy N.I.C rants about the latest Knicks game. Friday, the Knicks played an undermanned, beat up Charlotte Hornets team and had to squeak by with a 1-point win. It left a lot of Knicks fans, including myself, feeling about as bad as you can after a win. Me and my pops went live on the He Did This To Me podcast right after the game and wasn't feeling great. And the heat was really getting turned up on a Mr. Mikal Bridges from all angles, whether that be Twitter, the legacy papers. Everybody had something to say about the lack of effort and shooting and just overall play that we've been seeing from Mikal Bridges. And then on Sunday, the Pelicans come into town. The Knicks start off a homestand after a 5-game road trip. The Pelicans are without most of their best players, including, not surprisingly, Zion Williamson and also Brandon Ingram. And they're dealing with some other injuries on top of that. When you see a Pelican team and the starting lineup is Javonte Green, Trey Murphy, Yves Missy, CJ McCollum, and DeJounte Murray, you think that, hey, Knicks should be able to handle this. But nobody's confident after what we saw on Friday. But then on Sunday, the Knicks come out, and I'm pretty sure they were behind 5-4, and they did not lose the lead after that next bucket, and they won this game handedly. Okay, this game was over after the first quarter. The Knicks end up winning 118-85. The Knicks were in such control that Tom Thibodeau had all of the starters out of the game permanently at the 9-minute mark. Shout out to my pops. I said to him during the game, somewhere in the third quarter, I said, is there any reason why any of the starters play the fourth quarter? And he said to me, I see them all out around the 9-minute mark. I think it was 9:03 that they got taken out. And he was sure to remind me. Hey, man, but the Knicks came out and they took care of business early and often. There's a few different things that we're going to get into and break down, some things that we saw differently, but we have to start with Mikal Bridges. You know, it's interesting because when you look at Bridges' stats compared to recent seasons, he's not far off. The biggest difference that you see is the three-point percentage, which after Sunday's fantastic performance, we'll get into the numbers of that. But when you look at Bridges' overall stats, he's 33%. He's a career 37% shooter from behind the arc. Other than that, most things look pretty similar to what they typically are from Bridges. When it comes to attempts, the points are a little bit down from the last couple of years, but clearly last year in Brooklyn, he wasn't playing on the type of team where, he was going to have to share the ball as much. They were running the offense through him a lot more. He had that 26-year Brooklyn. Last year, he did 19.6. This year, it's down to 16.3, but it seems like every night when you look at his stats, they seem around the same. He's going to get you 14 to 18, a couple rebounds, a couple assists. He might get a steal or two, maybe a block. And it's insane how consistent that part has been, but how inconsistent his play has been from the eye test. And you did have a couple games where he scored 20, I think, back to back. I want to say that was against Washington and Brooklyn. But other than that, it's, been very no explosive, no like, hey, oh, wow, look at that game. Today was the look at that game. Bridges plays 35 minutes. He goes 12 of 19, 7 of 12 from behind the three-point line. He gives you 4 rebounds. He gives you an assist. He gives you a block. Only 1 turnover. And this is especially impressive. When you think about it, you have to be impressed that Bridges has this type of game in response to all the chatter that I don't care where if Bridges is the type of guy who he doesn't get on Twitter or he doesn't watch any of these NBA Today shows. I don't think they're out there watching podcasts like mine, these guys, in their spare time as much as they play ball. They're probably trying to get away from it a little bit, though. I do think that there's a small chance that Tom Thibodeau is a fan of the show, because there's been many times where the suggestions of my father and myself have led to very subsequent moves that are seem like maybe he might know what's going on here. But honestly, when you look at this and you look at Bridges, that he must have been hearing something. And if he's hearing something and he is somewhat aware and he responds like this, that's a very good sign of things to come. Thibodeau's being asked about it. Josh Hart is being asked about it and giving a sound bitey reply with nothing but support, but clearly understanding and actually acknowledging that, what, you guys have been killing him and he deserved it. Bridges, I can deal with you not shooting well. We can figure that out. That, I'm sure, will, regress or progress to the mean. But the defensive effort is the thing that has not been consistent and has not been what we expect when you get a player with a reputation like Mikal Bridges. But both he and the Knicks tonight seemed extremely engaged from the very beginning. Against the Pelicans, they came out and they said, hey, this team is undermanned. They don't have a ton of people who can kill you. Listen, DeJounte Murray, no slouch. CJ McCollum, no slouch. And then Trey Murphy, he's a fantastic shooter. By the way, a good point. I noticed Breen said this last night, and I thought about it in comparison to a guy like Bridges. Realized that Trey Murphy is known as a great, like a very good, if not close to great shooter, and definitely somebody who many people project will be a great shooter. Perfect name, Trey Murphy III, for a guy who shoots a lot of threes. And he's shooting 29% from three so far this year. Guys have tough stretches, man. Guys have tough stretches. But when you have tough stretches in that New York Knicks uniform, it gets hot real quick. The microscope gets put on you. And it gets real warm real quick. And it was starting to get there for Bridges. It had gotten there for Bridges. Even the people that were optimistic that he would be able to figure it out, like myself, were also a little bit nervous with what we're seeing. Because defense should be consistent. Defense should travel. The way that you play on a defensive side should be something that you can do night in and night out. And we hadn't seen that from him. In fact, we saw guys like Ish Smith getting wherever they wanted and getting buckets on him. And that makes you nervous, man. You're like, oh, man, what's going on here? Because if you look at our starting lineup, you have Jalen Brunson, who's going to be attacked. He's not a great defender. He's not a horrible defender. And he finds ways to make impacts, especially when it comes to, his ability to take charges. And you have Karl Anthony Towns, who, though I feel like he gives great effort, the numbers are so consistent that, guys score on him with great efficiency. And you look at our other three players, OG is arguably the best defender in the league. Josh Hart is a much better than average defender, not quite great. And then you thought Mikal Bridges was another definitely, if not great, very close to great, very good defender. I mean, the guy got second overall on Defensive Player of the Year. He's got some all defensive teams in his past. And when that starts to not look like even mediocre or average, but below defense at some points, below average defense, you get nervous. But Bridges and the entire team came out with a certain defensive intensity tonight that has been lacking. Even in a lot of the games that we've won, we have not come out and had the necessary effort and intensity and the proper communication on rotations. I thought we switched to more screens today, which I think that when it comes to Bridges, Anunoby, and Hart, they should be switching all screens, all of them. Tibbs, if you are listening, switch screens, especially with those guys, and don't have Karl-Anthony Towns play drop coverage. He's not good at it. He gets caught in between. Guys are pulling up for little floaters right in front of his face, or he's in between where he's guarding, but he's not guarding the passer enough to intercept or even affect the pass, and then the big man slipping behind him for an easy lob or an easy two. He does it. And this is something that when I go and I listen to the people that I trust the most, this is something that he's never been great at. Man, we lost the background screen. Sorry, guys. Let me fix that real quick. Yo, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. This is Nic On Knicks. We do this after every Knicks game. We also have He Did This to Me. It is the He Did This to Me network. And that is me and my dad. We've done it every week now for 65 weeks, where we talk Knicks, Jets, Mets, and we talk what's going on the biggest in sports. If you check the channel right now, there's a short about, Eberflus getting fired. So we talk about what's going on in sports in general. We really appreciate all love. It's been so much fun, this entire process. And hey, man, hit that subscribe, hit that like. We're everywhere. If you like to listen as opposed to watch, you can find us on any of the major, podcast platforms, as well as you can find us on all socials, that be Twitter, that be Instagram, or even on TikTok. And it's he_did_this-to-me. Show us some love. But yeah, man, so Bridges did his thing. Bridges came out there, and the defense in general came out there and did their thing. Bridges was hunting his shot. He was being aggressive. Brunson was going so out of his way to get Bridges the ball. And Bridges was cutting backdoor more, and Brunson was finding him. Brunson had 9 assists tonight to go with his 16 points. And I would at least 5. I know for a fact 4. I want to say at least 5 of them went to Mikal. He also had a really nice lob that he threw to Towns. The P&R between he and Towns is just continuing to get more deadly. Karl-Anthony Towns only played 24 minutes tonight. I love that. Brunson only played 26 minutes tonight. Love that as well. 35 for Bridges and 30 for Josh Hart and 31 for OG. OG had the block where he met Tice at the rim and he sent it back, and it led to a Bridges 3 out in front of the Hornets bench, I believe. And everybody is going to look at that as like one of the signature plays of this game. I think at that point we were up 16-4 and went up 19-4. But I thought even before that, there was a play. It was within the first 3 minutes of the game. I looked down at the clock. It was 9 and change. So it was within the first 2 and change. Whatever. But there was a play where there was a pick and roll, swing, and OG blocked the 3. And before we even got to that point, the couple swings before that, I was impressed by the rotation, the synergy of the rotation, where it seemed like everybody knew where they were supposed to rotate. That is one of the chemistry things on defense that it doesn't seem like the Knicks have totally figured out. Hopefully this is a good sign. And the effort. It's not just been Bridges on the defensive end. Brunson, you my captain. I love you, guy. He hasn't been great on defense this year. A lot of where he's not just busting with the zeal that he needs. And also with Brunson, I've seen some just in bad position when he's 2 passes away. So when that pass gets made, now that guy is attacking him and he's not at an angle where he's able to keep him in front. I think Bridges and Brunson specifically need to do a better job of keeping their ball handler in front of them. And I think that a lot of defense comes down to just effort and technique. And when we see that from these guys, especially those guys that aren't, especially the guys like a Brunson, who's not a super talented defender. He needs to have the effort and the technique. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And Bridges needs to use his length, and he needs to fight through screens better. I saw a breakdown. Who was that by? I think it was by my guy. Let me just make sure real quick. But I saw a breakdown by Karl Anthony Towns talking about, about Mikal Bridges, talking about the fact that he's very high waisted, which typically makes it hard for people to get around screens. And I think that when you look at him overall, he's very, very long limb wise. So if his legs are long, I guess that would lead to him being somewhat high waisted. That makes sense, right? And what he's done is throughout his career, he has really fought through screens like with gusto, and then gotten the long arms out there and kind of then gotten around the rest of the screen, with his lower body to be able to affect the player and be able to fight through them. Mikal Bridges has been dying on a lot of screens this year. You can't deny that if you watch all the time. And it was Jason Timpf from Hoops Tonight who had that breakdown. If you want to look at somebody who like really gets into the gritty, at Hoops Tonight on YouTube, really gets into the gritty and really explains like the analytics and does it in a way that is just easily digestible and easily understandable. Check out Hoops Tonight with my guy Jason Timpf. Good stuff. But Bridges, man, he's continuing to do the little things as far as cutting back door. Tonight, some shots just fell. And I did think he was being aggressive on offense. The defensive piece is where we need to see the consistency, where we need to see both him and this team get to a point where they, on a nightly basis, they don't need to be 1 or 2 or even top 5 in defense like they have been before, because the offense is so fucking good. They just need to give you decent defense. Shout out to John Mackey. I heard him say that we're now 6th. We're 6th overall in net rating. Hey man, if you don't, you need, that's where you need to be. And I think that can get up into the top 3, especially if we continue to push and be a little bit more consistent on that defensive end. I thought that OG, he had that 40-point game, and since then his offense has definitely struggled, and he looks a little bit spent out there. But he did get some garbage points. He gets his typical steal in the passing lane to go down for a dunk. He got a rebound and went right back up for a dunk. That looked good, at least, because there, a couple games ago against Dallas, it looked like he couldn't dunk a basketball. He looked so spent, man. But OG is one of those guys who he shows you exactly how he can have a huge game and really impact the game without having to score a ton. And that's something that Bridges needs to take note of, because even when the shot is falling, we need you to still be able to affect the game on the defensive end. And OG tonight, Breen talked about him having the potential of the 5-5-5 game, 5-5-5-5. He had 7 points. He had 4 blocks. He had 3 steals, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. Filling up the box score. Only 2 of 10 from behind the arc. Did make 3 free throws. 0 of 3 from, only 2 of 10 total. He's 0 of 3 from behind the arc. OG offensively didn't get it done, but defensively he had some signature plays, and just in general, as always, is always in the right place at the right time. Josh Hart, 5 of 9, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 23 minutes, 12 points total, 2 of 3 from behind the arc. The three-pointer is continuing to look confident, and it is going down. We love what we see from Josh Hart so far this season. He's super consistent what he's going to give you on a nightly basis. And with Brunson having the 16 points and the 9 assists, as we said, he only played 26 minutes. Got it going from behind the arc, 3 of 7. like I said, really, really looking for his college teammate, Mikal Bridges, and clearly trying to get him going, and it worked. When Brunson and Towns combine for 30 and you win by 33, feel good about that. Definitely feel good about that. The Knicks handle business at home, start off the homestand right, and now on Tuesday, the Orlando Magic come to town. The Orlando Magic, who lost their best player, Paolo Banchero, and have only lost one game since. They look fantastic. The defense on that team, they got the Wagner brothers. Orlando is not to be trifled with, man, and they're ahead of us in the standings. So those are all reasons to pay attention and for the Knicks to come out with a certain level of intensity and seriousness in this game. The Magic currently sit at 15-7. We sit at 12-8. On top of that, if the Knicks want to be involved in the mid-season tournament, then they need to win this game. We haven't lost a game, but our margin of victory hasn't been enough. And the Orlando, they have won every game as well. So we need to win to get in. If we lose, we're out, no matter what. So the Knicks, if they care about that, they need to get it done. And it's going to be a test. Orlando's a very good defensive team. When you lose your best player, especially your best offensive player, and then you subsequently play almost perfect basketball, only losing one game since, that usually tells you that team is good on D. And we've seen that. They've been coming now for the last couple of years, Orlando. Orlando has done a good job with that rebuild. They've hit on the draft a couple times. They have the two Wagner brothers, and then they have Banchero. They have a plethora of guards from Suggs and what's his name? They got a couple. Listen, Orlando has done a good job. Okay, they've done a good job building this team, and they've done a good job of fostering some sort of, culture there. They got a bunch of guys that can give you some bucket. Cole Anthony is who I was thinking of. I used to always make fun of him for having such a big head, but I guess now we got Brunson, who's got the biggest head of them all. Josh Hart post game wearing his Redskin stuff and making fun of. He said he went to the store to buy the hat, and he said, they had medium, large, extra large, and then they had a Brunson, so he just copped the Brunson. He had one of those big, stupid, oversized hats. He's hilarious. And then Brunson started getting after him, talking about how Brunson still owed him money because Brunson's an Eagles fan, and he's a Commanders fan. So, yeah, those two, man, listen, Josh Hart seems like his personality is so vital to this team. I loved how supportive he was of Mikal Bridges when asked about him. He knows that Bridges puts in the work. He knows that that's his guy. So he's just, basically like, he'll be all right. He'll get it done. And like I said at the top of the show, the fact that Bridges has all this chatter and he came out aggressive and obviously effective in this game, a lot of people wilt. Especially New York, your first year. I know he played in Brooklyn. Not the same. Trust me, he now knows it's not the same. Different pressure when you got on that orange and blue. And I'm just happy that he was able to answer the call like this, emphatically. I was hoping that he would get it going. I didn't think he was going to come out and drop 31, go 7 of 12 from behind the arc, be the best player on the floor. Didn't see that coming. But I am sure happy that it did. Like I said, I didn't expect him to quite do all of that. But I guess I do have to give myself a little bit of a pat on the back because before the game started yesterday, and there is receipts, like I said, go on X, he_did this to me. Big night from Bridges incoming from your boy. at 6:11 p.m. So it was literally just before the game started. Just saying. Bench gave you a great night tonight. A lot of guys got to get extended minutes. Deuce, he got his typical minutes. He continues to impress. He's so vital to this team. We really missed him when he wasn't there. He's 3 of 4 from behind the arc, 5 of 9 overall, gives you 13 points, plays excellent defense as always, added in 3 assists, had a nice little lefty reverse joint. That was nice, Deuce. He's 50%, 8 of 16 from behind the arc since returning from injury. When he shoots, and no matter what arena it's in, every time he shoots a 3, the entire crowd screams, Deuce. Not the entire crowd, but at least enough people so that you can hear it, even when we're away. And I feel like it's going in. This guy couldn't shoot when he got in the league. That was the thing where he couldn't shoot. And now, when he shoots, I think it's going in. That high arc, it's a beautiful shot. He jumps high on it. It's a nice high release. And that thing goes down, man. 50% since returning. And the thing with the reverse lefty layup, and Breen mentioned this on the broadcast too, and it was one of my biggest criticisms of Deuce last year, especially in the playoffs, is that he didn't have a NBA guard level handle. You would see times when other teams wanted to pressure him 94 feet, he wasn't ready to handle it, literally and figuratively. And I don't know. Look, one thing we know about Deuce is he's going to work. He couldn't shoot. Look at him now. He couldn't dribble last year. Look at him now. The handle has improved greatly. Deuce, we need you to stay healthy. He's got the sleeve on the knee now. Whatever you got to do, please, 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 Deuce, stay healthy. Him off the bench, him plus Campaign and the energy that they bring, the shooting that they bring, and they're just like, hey, man, I'm going to get up in you. I'm going to foul you hard. Campaign's going to talk some shit. He's going to slingshot a shot from anywhere on the floor whenever he gets a chance. I love it. I love what they bring us off the bench. I think especially when you add a Precious to that bench unit, it's going to really, really shine. If we talk about the bench, we got to talk about Jericho Sims. Sims versus Huck Porty. Okay? And I was one of the leaders of the Huck Hive. Why are we seeing Sims anymore? It's clear this guy is better than him. Why don't we see more Huck Porty? Tibbs defended him. Tibbs defended Sims. Tibbs continued to ride with Sims and give Sims those backup center minutes. Sims has responded. Sims played 23 minutes tonight. He had 13 rebounds. 5 of them offensive. And you could just see it. Sims had it going tonight. Sims, just from the beginning, had the bounce. He was making early defensive rotations. When you're up in a big game like that and you bring in the subs, you hope that they don't, take a foot off the gas a little bit. And now all of a sudden it becomes or at least, within the realm of close. This game really never had the feel that it was ever going to be close again. But as Knicks fans, we're all always thinking about when is Tibbs going to get the starters out of this blowout. And so I was just really hoping they didn't let it get, that we saw a couple of games ago, I think it was against Denver. It goes from 30 to 20 at the end of at the beginning of the fourth. And Tibbs is like, all right, starters, let's go. We can't let it go from 20 to 10. And I think sometimes it is unfair, the criticism that he gets for that. But there has been some times this year where forget the flow of the game. And I know that's important, but there has been some times where after a game and I look at the minutes and I'm like, man, this is not sustainable. We can't keep doing this. So it was nice tonight to have a laugher and be able to get guys involved. Campaign, 16 minutes, 8 points, 2 of 4 from behind the arc. How many assists did Campaign have? His assist totals lately have been pretty impressive. 5. Man, you get 5 assists from your backup point guard. Get another 5 assists from Deuce. That's good stuff right there, man. That's good stuff. That's winning basketball. That's the type of effort you need from your others, as some call them. Matt Ryan, bombs away. He was 2 of 5 from behind the arc, came in and was just trying to just get him up. Huck Porty played 9 minutes. Huck Porty, I remember he had a block. I saw a block. No, not according to stats. He was, yeah, he's got a block. Huck Porty had a block. He had 3 rebounds. Nothing really. Huck Porty kind of looked like he just rolled out of bed. Somebody needs to, tighten up Huck Porty, man. Clean yourself up a little bit. Karl Anthony Towns, fresh cut. I noticed that. I liked it. Cat, you need to take Huck Porty to your barber. All right? Okay, get my man tightened up a little bit. Huck Porty, you never know when you're going to get sent out there, and all of a sudden you under the big lights. So you got to make sure, you got to make sure you're right. Ready to get out there. Tyler Kolek, crowd was chanting for him. Tibbs obliged, brought him in. 6 minutes, 6.5. He's 1 of 4 from the field. I know he had at least 2 assists, 2 rebounds. Brunson now has gotten the assist number up. If it's not 8, it's real close, high 7s. And Jalen Brunson was the player of the week. He averaged 27 points, 10 assists on 52% shooting, and was the Eastern Conference player of the week. Bravo, captain. Like I said, that P&R between him and Cat is just, it's getting better and better. I love it. I love what I'm seeing. Knicks now have a tough one against Orlando, and then we get to the softest part of our schedule where we could really, really, do something. 12-8 right now. 3 games this week. I think if we beat Orlando, we could easily be 15-8. But with this team, they have not shown you the consistency yet where you feel like, we're definitely going to take care of this team. But if you go back to that game against Chicago, that brutal loss, one of the toughest losses, where Jalen Brunson's shot to conclude a furious comeback from the Knicks goes in and out, dances and trickles on the rim before coming off after maybe the stupidest foul of all time by Josh Hart. And you feel real nervous then, and we're below 500. We're 5-6. We're 7-2 cents. And now we got the soft part of the schedule coming up. There's some that Dallas loss hurt. That Utah loss hurt. Like not just hurt, but just was disappointing, was deflating. And then we get the Denver win, and we're like, yo, look at this. And then Dallas smacks us, and then we win by only 1 against a undermanned Charlotte team. And then we come out against the Pelicans and we take care of business. Yo, how lucky are we that the ping pong balls were not in our favor and we did not draft Zion? Can you imagine if that dude was over there playing less than 40 games a year most years, and we were sitting back as Knicks fans thinking about what it could be with him eating up a large chunk of your salary? It would be an absolute disaster. Sometimes it's good to be unlucky. And this is one of those times. Knicks dodged a bullet. Let's take care of business against Orlando. Let's get it done. It's your boy Nic On Knicks. Peace.